Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 1034. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Congratulations to Canada. Or congratulations to England on your Women's Rugby World Cup victory. It's playing out
Probably
in front of us.
England.
Probably the way it's going.
Yeah,
the match is still on as we record this, so we don't have an outcome yet.
I've never really watched rugby, but Canada's in the finals, so therefore everyone tunes in because that's how it works. And we're playing England, and apparently it's a big thing. Canada beat New Zealand in the semifinal, which is big because New Zealand is really good at rugby. So. But we're down 20. We being Canada here. Sorry, England. Canada's down 26-13 at the exact time of recording. So will we win? Who knows? Maybe the game will end by the time we're gonna have to do some epic length banter. Banter.
Banter about banthas.
Banther poodoo.
Banther. How many Star Wars podcasts are called Bantha Fodder? I bet you.
Oh, I'm sure more than a couple.
80 of
them. The original newsletter that you get from Lucasfilm back in the day was called Bantha Tracks. I can tell you that.
Oh, I remember that.
I never got it, but I was tempted by it, but I was a child, so I couldn't order it.
Was that like an actual physical print? I thought it would.
That was an actual physical newsletter about what was going on. It's agitprop from Lucasfilm, basically. So
yeah.
I'm sure there's probably copies of it floating around on the internet.
Your guess was correct, Stephen. There is a podcast called Bantha Fodder.
Not surprising.
Which seems to be a very recent thing. Like episode 2 was a week ago.
They just started a Star Wars podcast. Wow. Good for them.
We just loved Rise of Skywalker so much we had to start a podcast about it.
That's hilarious. No, they're probably like Ahsoka or something like that. Or maybe the Acolyte.
I wish to report there is a vintage Bantha Tracks archives.
Is there really? Well. So you can
JediTempleArchives.com. So if you want to read 1970s fan club stuff, then go to town. It's there.
Maybe I do. I mean, everything else I do is targeted towards looking at historical stuff from the 70s, so why not?
Maybe you'll find Doctor Who actors in there, Stephen.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, well, I mean, how many... I've never done the count. I don't need to, but how many Star
4,000.
Actors, Star Wars actors in the original trilogy, if we limited it to that, I don't know how many there are. Obviously, Empire Strikes Back has the bulk of them with Michael Sheard and Gillian Glover. But Dave Prowse, of course.
Well, the aforementioned Rise of Skywalker has, what's his name? Richard E. Grant, so.
I don't care about modern Who. I don't care about modern
trilogy.
Yeah.
Stick to the brief.
Learn the rules.
Why would I do that?
Peter Diamond was the stunt arranger and stuntman in the original trilogy. He was in Doctor Who a few times.
Don't forget Peter Cushing. Jeez.
Peter Cushing was technically
that's not actually classic. Stick to the brief.
Exactly.
Live by the nerd, die by the nerd, boys.
Yep, exactly. By the way, Beth Axford is on the show today talking about her new Doctor Who quiz book and her upcoming Doctor Who audio, Doctor Who Firefall, which we alluded to, last week with Michael Stevens from BBC Audiobooks. So as I use my cough button there. What else do you want to? There's this is finally at long last after like several weeks of
endless.
Just endless news and stuff. I feel like we're finally hitting a nice down time when it comes to Doctor Who news. In that there's there's no one who didn't somebody talk about War Between the Land and the Sea ever so briefly in an interview. Someone who's in it, and I can't remember who it was now.
I don't remember.
It wasn't
probably. I don't know.
It wasn't Russell Tovey. It wasn't Gugu Mbatha Raw. It was somebody else who was adjacent to the production. Just sort of mentioned something about it, and that was like the only thing that caught my eye on the Google alerts this week. But Yeah, it seems a little quiet, which
That's fine. That's more than fine, actually.
Yeah, I suppose so. As we wait for the war between the land and the sea, aka Twiblats, aka TWB, aka Turf and Surf, which is the new name that we're giving it for the time being.
And I will not be watching on Disney Plus.
Yeah, you're still sticking with the
I am not. I mean, this was just a convenient. No, it wasn't a convenient. There was partly I got rid of it because of the Kimmel nonsense and general knee bending, but partly because I was like, what am I spending money on here? Like, I don't need to have Simpsons around on Everwatch. Like, what's going on?
Doctor Who's not coming back, or
exactly
new Doctor Who isn't
until
coming back there
next year or whatever. So I can just go on iPlayer and watch it. What the hell?
Whoa, controversial one.
I know.
Or no, if you're going to do it the legal way, you'll fly to Edmonton every week through the war between the land and the sea is and watch it on a friend's thing. But you will also help contribute financially by paying said friend $5 for each time you watch it. So
that seems dumb. That entire plan seems dumb.
Yeah, it does a little bit, but yeah, January, February. Here's the thing: will Turf and Surf have aired, or will it be airing when Gallifrey One rolls around in early February next year? Because Alexander Devrient, who of course plays what's his character's name in Ibrahim Christopher Ibrahim in The Right-Hand Man, of course, to Kate Stewart, announced for Gallifrey One, his first ever North American convention. Will he be able to speak freely about the show that he's in?
Will he be able to get over the border?
Also a factor.
Well, we don't have a broadcast, so I mean, it's possible by Galley. I mean, Galley is earlier next year than General, but it's entirely possible. We have seen War Between by then.
Well, I mean, it's apparently coming in 2026 based on what Kate Phillips. Was it Kate Phillips? I think it was Kate Phillips from the BBC.
There's a whole lot of 2026 to cover there. So
yeah. So I mean, we imagine it's going to be early. We also imagine that Disney does not care. We'll probably just plop it out whenever the BBC wants it to. So it's up to the BBC now at this point as to when they're going to air it.
If they'll throw one of their big money earners and stars under the bus just cause. I'm pretty sure Doctor Who's low on the list.
Very low. Very, way low, to quote Peter Capaldi from an episode of The Thick of It, yeah. As we've said in the past, though, it's kind of nice being small potatoes again. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
fun with it. That's where Doctor Who, after all, that's how it all started.
Exactly. It feels right. It feels right for Doctor Who to be kicked around like an afterthought, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, got a bit of victim blaming syndrome here happening, but whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, he's going to be there. So Sarah Sutton, of course, played Nyssa back in the 1980s. Peter Davison's going to be there. So you got to reunite the TARDIS crew, because you can't have a convention without the whole TARDIS crew there. So, that's pretty cool. So, Sarah never interviewed Sarah Sutton, even though I think I've been to at least one, maybe even two Gallifrey ones with Sarah Sutton there. But,
I interviewed her at one of them.
You did, didn't you?
I sure did. She was nice. She was good. Mm-hmm. And the great thing about actors, as I said before, is you can just ask them a question and then they take care of business for like about 5 minutes.
That's true.
It's very easy to interview actors most of the time.
Unless you're Andrew Hayden Smith, perhaps. But yeah.
So, some are less forthcoming than others.
Yeah, we've each got our own white whales of lack of interactivity.
That's true. Yeah, I know. Katie Manning, you just can't get God, just say something, Katie. Forgot to know. Katie will.
Yeah, it's certainly like she's not an expert at holding court or anything.
I think I asked 2 questions at Katie Manning once, and that was like an hour-long panel. It was.
I was on the shuttle back to the airport. She was in the back holding court, and I'm like, yes, all's right in the world.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was L.I. Who, I think. I interviewed Katie Manning way back when, 2015 or 20. I once again, I've lost track of which L.I. Who's I've been to, but. That's also a fun time. Anyway, Gallifrey One, of course, February 6th to 8th next year in Los Angeles, California, as the guests are slowly rolling out over the days and weeks to come. And we also wait for Turf and Surf to arrive as well. We're waiting for North American release date for the Blake 7 box set. We still don't have that. Just want to keep you updated on everything, everyone. I don't even think you can pre-order it on Amazon, aka like the only place that you can pre-order Blu-rays anymore on the internet. And season 26 is coming on January 20th here in North America. You can pre-order that on that Amazon place in the States. You can't here in Canada yet, but it will happen in due course. Is that it? Is that all the upcoming releases that we know about?
Yeah.
I think so.
No other Blu-ray sets announced. No animations on the horizon.
No, that's true.
Where's Space Pirates? How dare they?
Well,
Ian Levine just reconstructed that top to bottom. So
Okay, well, disregard then. Everything's fine.
Yeah, teasers for the interview with Beth Axford. We talked briefly about the Space Pirates. So
of course you do.
yeah, I wasn't even.
She's
the one
like,
that
I don't
brought
want
it
to
up.
talk about Space Pirates. She's like, you're like, well, I am.
Oh well, I'm sorry. That was in the remit. Read the writer. It was in there. We don't send out writers to our guests, but. Any other banter you want to talk about before we get through the news?
Nah.
We talked about Star Wars. We talked about isn't Andor good? Andor's really good.
It was very good.
Yeah,
Say so.
that Blu-ray is coming out in April of next year, probably based on their previous release schedule. It has to be a whole calendar year after it dropped on Disney Plus before they put it on Blu-ray. So
Well, my hard drive never heard that memo, so I'm just saying. Got a couple things from Disney Plus. It might have been archived.
Yeah.
Who could say?
yeah,
Well, by that schedule, it'll be, I assume, end of May for Doctor Who.
again,
Season 2 in North America.
that's
I
true.
can watch Reality War again? Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Already out in the UK, but
yeah. I fear that my season 1 Blu-ray for Doctor Who just kind of went unwrapped out of the plastic and then it went onto the shelf. And I admit, dear listener, that I have not popped it into the player yet.
I did. I decided I was going to watch the VAM, and then I'm like, well, this is just all the same stuff that was on YouTube and whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, mine kind of just
Which
went
makes
on the
business sense
shelf.
for them to do, yeah. But
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
we're spoiled by the collections. That's the problem.
We are a little bit. We are very much spoiled by the collections. They're just superb releases. We'll
Spoiled by the collections, and also we, have seen all this stuff at the time. 'Cause,
True.
Or I did. I'm sure Stephen did, even if you didn't, Warren, just kind of just absorbed as much as we could
Oh, yeah,
of
probably.
the EPK stuff for when those episodes were current.
yeah. And it is very much electronic press kit stuff when it comes to the extras. Basically, they're just sort of regurgitating there. I want to see proper documentaries on stuff, of course. That's what I like, and that's what
The thing is,
collections
I can't think of a fandom that's more VAM crazy than Doctor Who. Now, I'm a little biased on that, but I can't think of one.
That is definitely a result of us being spoiled with the DVDs
Exactly,
back in the
yes.
day.
Yeah, but who started when DVDs and stuff came out? I'm just thinking where was the standard set for we need to make documentaries about this stuff and have it included?
Criterion started that with the Laserdiscs, actually.
Way back when, yeah.
That'd be in that regard. it'd be
Commentaries, I don't know who started
pre-DVD.
that, but
Back in the day when DVDs were new, on the back of the package under special features, you would see something like widescreen.
and people would argue. I remember I went to a Laserdisc store in Edmonton, and this guy was like, "I'm not getting that. I paid good money for this TV. I'm not gonna. The whole screen has to be filled." I'm like, "Well, you're a moron, but all right."
Well, apologies to Andrew Smith, who of course watches stuff with full screen on, but we won't judge
How
him
dare you?
here.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah. Maybe it was Criterion. Yeah, that started this. Well, good job, Criterion. I mean, they do such good work anyway.
I mean, I had the Lawrence of Arabia Laserdisc, and it was $120, and it was worth every penny. And they had a couple documentaries. I think they had a commentary on there. They had a ton of stuff.
120. It was a lot of money back then too.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Absolutely worth it.
And where is that Laserdisc now, Warren?
Long since gone.
Okay.
from 30 odd years ago, yes, it's vanished. Okay.
Yeah. I would have kept the Laserdisc maybe. Even though you
I
had nothing
didn't.
to play it on, but
I think I gave the player to somebody and I gave him the Laserdisc because I got it on DVD or something. Who knows? I've got the Blu-ray kicking around somewhere.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
You bought it on iTunes as well.
That too. I also
you
have the
saying,
iTunes
so.
one.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right though. The doc. I mean, if there's no document, honestly, it's the production notes that sets the collections apart for me, because that's the one thing a lot of other places don't have at all.
Well,
they don't
because
have production notes.
It's pure maniac bait, so that's why.
It is.
it's-
It's 100% made for me. Yeah.
We had all those with the DVDs back in the day.
Yeah.
But what makes that stuff extra special is, and it doesn't happen every time, but for the times where they've gone back and updated / redone the notes and all that. We're talking about two different things, aren't we? I'm talking about the info text.
Yeah.
You're talking about
No, I'm talking about infotext. That's what I mean. Production notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They call it production notes. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. We are on the same page.
We are on the same page.
But I mean, they've in some instances they've gone back and updated the info text and all that to between the DVD and Blu-ray releases and like stuff like that. And then this 1,500 pages scanned one by one into PDF.
Yeah.
From shooting scripts and camera scripts and the Radio Times thing and whatever. I mean,
not only are fans insane, but the people making this are fans who are also insane. So I mean, I'm saying insane is not derogatory. This is complimentary.
Yeah, absolutely. The PDFs and the infotext / production notes are the things that set the. I mean, obviously the picture looks great on these collections and everything else, but like it's those little extra details that really sets it apart.
People who absolutely love this stuff and have the skill to back it up are the ones doing this.
Rejiggering visual effects so that they don't look so cheesy, but
they look just janky enough. That's the key.
Well, I was gonna say, even though we love the cheese, but
I mean, they were doing what they could back then. That's the thing. Classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to fire up a Star Trek disc and see a VAM piece on like blood sausage like we got on State of Decay.
That's right, we did too, didn't we?
And why not?
Yeah. No scene sync or anything like that.
Why isn't there anything about the various buckets used for Odo? Like, why are we not seeing this?
Right. Yeah. No. Oh, maybe one day they'll actually get around to doing a DS9 full-on 4K remastering.
Oh, that'd be glorious if they did, but I don't see it. I see that over Voyager because I think it was more popular than Voyager, but they both weren't popular enough, basically.
No, sadly not.
The amount of money they put into TNG for that, I don't know that they can justify DS9.
It looks great. Like I keep forgetting they did that, so I'll fire up a TNG and go, "Oh my god, this looks good."
I know. Yeah, and then you fire up a DS9 and
you know what? The thing is, you get used to it in 5 minutes. Just like watching old Classic Who, you're just like, okay, fine, whatever. You just forget it's SD after a while.
Yeah.
Well, last little bit here and there, I've been rewatching 1978 Battlestar Galactica, and that's not exactly well known for its visual effects.
Well, I think it's well known for the great visual effects that they use over and over, which can't blame them for doing.
Exactly. Yeah. We love them. We'll talk nonstop about them. They could we'd probably pay them to sponsor us on this episode of Radio Free Skaro, brought to you by The Collection. We paid them for the ability to say that.
We sure didn't.
Yeah, because I love those things, and I'm looking forward to January of 2026 because then I could truncate my DVD shelf just a little bit more. 6 DVDs gone, and in its place a nice shiny Blu-ray case.
Well, you're not going to put Android Invasion anywhere else, right? That's going to stay prominently on your shelf.
Oh, that's framed. Android Invasion is framed. So it's already off the shelf anyway, on the wall somewhere. I took down the picture of the Queen to put that up.
You sure did.
Instead, you're looking at a picture of Stigron.
Stigron, the real Queen. Damn it. Anyway, love the physical meat. Sometimes even Warren buys them. Sometimes even Warren gets them.
I will get this next Baker one because it's chock full of bangers.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, we'll have a full episode about it with Toby Hato coming up next month. As a little peek behind the curtain. This is our last sort of normal Saturday morning recording that we do because Chris is off to the UK soon. All sorts of other things are happening. Warren's off to a convention at some point, so it'll be a little bit scattershot over the next few weeks here. So, but we'll make do. We'll make do as we often do. Would you like to talk about some fictitious awards?
Oh boy, would I?
Yeah. Well, the nominees have been revealed for the BAFTA Scotland Audience Award, in partnership with Screen Scotland, so I have to include that. Of which one is Ncuti Gatwa for TV's Doctor Who. Ncuti Gatwa is up against other people who are from Scotland who are on other shows. Basically, is what the category is. So there, including Ashley Jensen from Shetland. Never watched Shetland, but I remember her from Extras.
That sounds like it's on BritBox, isn't it?
It might be. It might be on BritBox. That's not the one with David Morrissey, is it? I'm thinking of Sherwood, I think, not Shetland.
I mean, pretty much every region has been covered by a murder, if BritBox is to be believed.
I think so. That's true. Is there any in the West Country? Any West Country murder shows on BritBox?
Oh, there's got to be.
I think honestly, if I was running BritBox, I would teach the viewers like lessons about British geography. And have murder shows by region, and then you could just what's happening in Lincolnshire this time around, and who's getting killed there? Murder, obviously, but then you click the Lincolnshire one, and then you learn about different accents as well. Just a little little idea there for you, BritBox. Anyway, Ncuti Gatwa was up again, as well as someone from Slow Horses. Small role in Slow Horses, but she's up there. Karen Sonia Sawar. So yeah, there you go. Doctor Who still continuing to be nominated for awards, despite not being on the air anymore for now.
Neato.
Yep. Big Finish, some Big Finish stuff coming out or is already out. The second Sacha Dhawan box set, Call Me Master Monsters, is out now with 3 different Sacha Dhawan masters on the cover. I don't think it's a multi-master story. I just think they're just
because the glasses. That's when he's lecturing about geology, isn't it? I think that's that version of the master
from Power of the Doctor. Yep.
Yeah.
And
it just looks like it's a portfolio of headshots for Sacha Dhawan, basically.
His tissue compression eliminator looks like many vapes that I've seen people wielding.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is a vape / tissue compression eliminator. The third one, he's wearing handcuffs. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah, and he's pleading to the second guy.
Yeah.
Hey, could you get me out of these things? And the first one's just looking aloofly away because he's a professor of some sort.
Who could tell what happens there?
I'm creating fanfic for this picture.
Yeah. So that's what happens there. Let us know if we're wrong. 3 different stories. One of them is the Big Finish debut of Jodie Hauser. So the Ideal Quarry is part of that. So there you go. That is out now from Big Finish. Also out now, Bernice Summerfield, the Dalek Eternity 1, where there's a Dalek and he's
gold.
Bernice Summerfield, and yes, is that the one? It's not quite the one. I thought it was almost the one from. It's the same livery as the one from Planet of the Daleks. Oddly enough. The big Supreme one that comes in episode 6. But
the one who comes in and complains to everybody? I love that guy.
Yeah, that guy, yeah.
He's the supervisor who just comes in and goes, what kind of rinky-dink operation you got going on here? That guy's awesome. I love him. He's so good.
Well, and there's a big giant metal sphere.
It's the second cousin of the Death Star back there.
It could be. Or it's just a blown up thing of a thermal detonator that Princess Leia as boss.
That's the latest ship he's going to go, or planet he's going to go down to and berate people for, berate Daleks for.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a Dyson sphere.
I was going to say Dyson sphere. Yeah.
Dyson spheres are diffuse.
I suppose it would be. What about the Dyson sphere in that Star Trek episode where they found Scotty trapped in a transporter beam?
Well, okay, Star Trek, that's reality right there.
Okay, well.
Also, speaking of which, I think some AI guys were saying, we're going to build a Dyson sphere and that's going to be our AI. I'm like, you guys have no idea about either of those things, do you?
No.
How are you worried about that being fake, Warren, when... Big Finish with Daleks is definitely, biographical.
You got me there, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. What else is coming? Oh, yeah. Now a couple of new releases coming up. Brett Fine lives in the Doctor Who Space Security Service.
I love that title. I love that title so much.
It was pretty cool with, of course, the Space Security Service from the Daleks Master Plan. There's a whole Big Finish thing about that. That 3-part series is coming out in January of 2026.
I can't believe it took them this long to do the Space Security Service and Brett Fine.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure is it John Colshaw doing he is doing the voice of Nicholas Courtney.
Okay,
because John, he does.
I guess, yeah.
He does voices for a lot of people, but he also is the main voice for the Brigadier, of course. So naturally, we get
Big Finish bait on a massive level, is what it is. It's so so perfect for Big Finish.
Yeah, I love the artwork too. Very, very 60s camp sort of style, which is,
And you don't actually see Brett Vian's face, which is kind of cool.
That's how you do it. That's clever, is what that is. I always thought that the artwork of that, with just a silhouette and then the armband, the sash in white, like the defining sort of element of their costume, reminds me of the artwork that Graham Burke put together for Who is the Doctor. I have some of those buttons.
Oh, yeah, it is like that.
So, Graham, I would be in contact with Big Finish, and perhaps...
Dear sir, madam.
Yeah. And lastly, coming out in February of 2026, the Legacy of the 2019 Legacy of Time box set, which came out then as what's been updated. I'm reading this for the first time, I got to admit, but there's Stephen Noonan is the first Doctor is there, as well as John Colshaw, who's doing the Brigadier and the Master, both voiced by him. He does everything. So there's basically an addendum to it with the first and second Doctors now, with, of course, the cast that do them now. So, and Nick Briggs, of course, he pokes his head into every single photo that's done on Big Finish. Barbara Hamley, by the way, sci-fi U.S. sci-fi legend and frequent panel guest at Gallifrey One. Barbara Hamley is writing her first ever Doctor Who Big Finish for this set. So that's the notable thing here. She's been on... correct me if I'm wrong. Was Barbara Hamley the one who was doing the TV Ontario interstitials, I think, way back when in the 1980s about Doctor Who? Or am I conflating her with someone else?
That's Judith Merrill, who's Canadian.
Merrill.
American, who came to Canada and lived there. In fact, I've got the poster. The Judith Merrill Sci-Fi Library is at the University of Toronto, so...
Oh, okay.
Or maybe the Toronto Public Library, pardon me. But anyway, that's Judith Merrill.
Okay. Apologies for that.
Yes.
Apologies. And congratulations to England, winners of the Women's Rugby World Cup 33-13, as I'm sure you all know by now. But hey, Canada made the final, dang it. Mm-hmm. And that's
we participated, and that's all you can ask for.
That's, you know what? Why not? Relatively new to rugby, good for us. All right, that's it. That's it for our news, everyone. After the very short break, I chat with Beth Axford about the Doctor Who quiz book and other audio pursuits. We're a big fan of quizzes and trivia here at Radio Free Skaro, and we're in luck because a new Doctor Who trivia book is out this week. It's called The Official Doctor Who Quiz Book, and to talk about that and some of her other writing and audio pursuits is the author Beth Axford. Hello, Beth.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I had this book and your appearance earmarked for a while now when it was coming out. So I'm glad that the planets aligned.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's so lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you back on the show. I think this is your third, or I don't know, I've lost count after all these years.
Yeah,
but
when was the last time?
A very good question, Beth. I know you.
The last quiz book, maybe?
Might have been. No, it wasn't the last quiz book, because I think I would have remembered that. It was about, I know you came on during the Jodie Whittaker era to do a commentary for an episode, I think, and I'm sure there was another one after that too, but I
remember recording my old house and having a glass of wine the last time I spoke to you. So.
That's right. I do remember that.
I was a bit chaotic.
Well, if it was chaotic, it paid off in the fact that you've now written an official Doctor Who quiz book to follow up your unofficial one. This isn't your first quiz book. You wrote an unofficial one back in early 2024.
Yeah. And that it's been a while. I've sort of had the upgrade, I guess.
Right. Well, how did the notion of an official trivia book come about then for you?
It was really weird because I had decided that I wanted to do a Doctor Who book as like a goal, which I had wanted to do for a while. And I started pitching to the official publishers different ideas. And the initial idea that I pitched never got picked up, but that's what I was doing at the beginning of the year that I got offered the quiz book. And then out of the blue, I got a message on, I guess it was Twitter at the time, asking me to do if I would be interested in a Doctor Who writing opportunity, but from an unofficial publisher. And then I was like, okay, cool, yeah, email me. Not really knowing that it was a book or anything. And then this woman emailed me, and she was like, we would like you to do an unofficial Doctor Who book. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, yeah, obviously. And, you know, I was a little bit wary because I was like, if I do something unofficial, will that like make me look bad for doing an unofficial thing rather than an official one? You know, all the questions. But I think it's a good place to start, really, because I got to do whatever I wanted with it. And then the success of that is the reason why I've got the official one. So it was quite a good place to kind of begin that kind of process to the official Doctor Who books, I guess.
Mm-hmm. How did you avoid repeating yourself then, I guess, from the unofficial quiz book to the official one now?
Yeah, so one of the first things when I was asked, I think it was 2 years ago, actually, this month, I was asked to do the official one. And I said, yes, I'll do it. But if I do it, I have to do it set in universe. Like, can I do it as a story? Can I do it as an adventure that you go on and all of the chapters are set in a place with a character that's talking to you, kind of thing? Because I wanted it to be as different as possible.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, being official, I have, you know, all of the things. I would never have been able to do that with the unofficial one because of all the legal rules and all of that. So I was like, I'm going to make the most of having it be official by being able to use the characters, do a storyline. And yeah, the BBC liked the idea, and so did Puffin. So I sort of plotted out a kind of like, this is what the storyline would look like. Something is changing history, changing facts, changing the Doctor's timeline. And you as the reader have to go through and answer the questions to kind of fix it.
Uh-huh.
And in each chapter you meet a different character. So you start off with a message from the Doctor, and then you find Belinda in the TARDIS wardrobe, and then you go through and you end up meeting the Daleks and Ruby Sunday, the Cholder. There's all sorts of different places that you end up on the way. So that was the main thing that I wanted to do. And then kind of from there, that makes it a lot easier, because if you're doing it in character, the questions just sort of fall differently anyway.
Yeah. How interesting. So how long did it take you to land on that format then?
To be honest, it wasn't that long. I think I just immediately was like, how do I make it as different as possible? I don't want to be lazy about this. I want to make the most of it, you know, because I think every time I do anything with Doctor Who, I'm just sort of like, this could be the last Doctor Who thing I ever do. So I'm going to try. Do you know what I mean? I'm always a bit like worried that I'll never do it again. So I don't really remember the timeline. I think I straight away, like within a couple of weeks, went back to my editor and said, like, can I do this kind of thing? You know, we go from the TARDIS to Unit to Skaro to wherever, and the characters narrate it. So when you meet the Daleks are talking to you like, you know, as they would in the show, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
It actually, the thing that took a long time was, I think I got the storyline signed off quite quickly, and then I worked with the brand team to make it a little bit more linked to the current era. So it's a little bit more linked into the 15th Doctor's era than the unofficial one was to any era.
Mm-hmm.
It was like when I was offered it, Ncuti's first season hadn't aired yet, but then loads of different things were happening with all sorts of. Basically, I ended up working as an editor for the same publisher.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to do all of the stuff, the quiz books sort of kept getting pushed back because they had so many other books that we needed to work on. So really, the actual like idea and storyline happened quite quickly, but then it took like a year for them to get me started on it because they just weren't ready yet. So it was originally meant to come out last year, but then I didn't start on it until about this time last year, writing it, even though I'd done the outline like a year before. So it was all like a bit fragmented.
So it almost like, but by this, you know, Ncuti Gatwa's first season didn't even air, but when you had the idea, and then by the time, of course, the book comes out, Ncuti Gatwa era is done. So in a way, this book is like a culmination of the entire era, you might say.
It is very weird, because I was actually saying to a friend the other day that I think obviously if I'd known, I would have maybe woven some more elements into it to make it a little bit more general. Not that there's anything wrong with it being linked to the current era. You know, there's just always a worry that people won't care as much when it's not on air. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that didn't seem to happen with the first quiz book, so I don't know what I'm worried about. But it was really nice also to get to explore certain characters like Belinda and Ruby. Like, I have a page where you have to like fill in Ruby's diary, which is quite cute. And that sort of thing was quite nice. It definitely feels like a story in the universe. And I made sure that it made sense within all their episodes. I think it takes place between Story Engine and Song Contest. And the brand manager was like, you don't really need to make it work. And I was like, yes, I do. I need to make it work. And if it doesn't make sense to, like, this storyline has to fit into the series.
Right.
Or I'll pick it myself. So yeah, it fits in with everything. Yeah, so it is really interesting that it's kind of like my audio as well as 15th Doctor, so it's kind of like bookending the era with some new stories for the 15th Doctor, which is quite cool.
Mm-hmm. When you're doing a quiz book, then, like, how do you come up with the questions? Do you think of questions that would stump you, or do you think that, like, here's what I know, let's see if people know what I know, and if, like, what is the bar to difficulty when it comes to trivia questions like this?
Yeah, do you know what? I've been asked that question a lot, and it always stumps me when people ask me how I come up with questions, because I think I start with the chapter. So it could be the Companions chapter, for example, which is you're at unit with Mel Bush, and Mel Bush is asking you questions about Companions. That sort of thing, because this is also Puffin, which is there's two publishers that do Doctor Who books. One is called Ebury, one is called Puffin. Puffin is inclusive of younger readers as well, so it had to be a little bit easier
right
at the beginning. So I honestly don't know. I think it depends on the theme. So, like, for Companions, I made sure I had a question for every companion. And then when doing that, I'm just like, okay, what do I think is an interesting fact, or what do I think is something that someone might stumble upon, or something like that. But it's really hard. I honestly don't know. I think I just spend a lot of time noting down things I think are interesting. So, like, if I'm doing a chapter about, I think the Cholder chapter is sort of about alien invasions throughout history and stuff like that. Or it might be more general about creatures in Doctor Who. Anyway, I just write down loads of interesting, monsters, creatures, or things that I find exciting, and then I might be like, right, I'm going to do a question on the Sensorites because I like the Sensorites. You know what I mean? It really is as simple as that. And then other times it's just sort of like, how do I make this like creatively interesting as well? So there's actually a chapter, which is a bit of a spoiler, but a Story Engine chapter where you end up at the barbershop. And I wanted all those questions to be about stories within the Whoniverse, because I thought that was quite different compared to how my first quiz book was set out. But then it's like, right, now I have to do lots of research on stories that are told within Doctor Who and stuff like that. So it's mostly just like, what do I find interesting? Trying to make sure it's not just like, what color is the TARDIS kind of thing.
Right. Do you like cobble together like a focus group of your friends or something to say, okay, let's try and like, see if they get any of these questions, if they're too easy or too hard or something like that? Or
yeah, so it depends. Obviously, like a lot of it I couldn't share with anybody because it was under NDA and the series hadn't aired yet. So but other stuff I tested my housemate or my friend James, sort of like we show all of our work to each other, Doctor Who wise, if it's not under NDA, and we're just like, right, does this make sense? And just all of my friends that are walking Doctor Who, basically TARDIS wikis in human form, I'll just run things past them and be like, does this make sense? Do you know the answer to this? And then sometimes it's good to get people that don't really know the show as well, because you want it to be a bit more accessible to people that are newer. Because I think we forget how much we know about this show.
Yeah.
Like my housemate was saying the other day that, or one of my friends was saying that one of their friends that likes Doctor Who asked why it was cancelled. And I was like, how can they not know why it was cancelled? And I was like, wait. Other people are normal. Other people don't know everything about this show. Other people have lives. So sometimes I have to take a step back and be like, okay, some people might not know what Susan's surname is, and that's okay. And that can be a question. And I have to sort of balance, like, I don't want it to be too easy.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to put easy ones in there, because also you want people reading to feel like they're good at it as well, so that they enjoy it and want to carry on, doing it.
Mm-hmm. It's tough being us, isn't it? Being obsessed with Doctor Who as we are.
It is. It's such an illness, such a chore.
It's a burden we bear. Yeah, you touched on it briefly as well. Your Doctor Who audio, Doctor Who Firefall, which is coming out October 2nd, as read by Michelle Asante, who of course was in the story in the engine. How did this one come about then?
Oh man, I mean, so I think somebody from the BBC asked me if I wanted to pitch an idea. And I was like, obviously. Whenever anybody asks me to do things, I'm just like, obviously.
Right.
Obviously I want to do that. And I pitched a couple of ideas to BBC Audio. So they were gonna make 2 audiobooks for the 15th Doctor and Belinda. And I pitched, I can't remember what my other idea was actually, but this idea had come, I'd seen a wood cutting of this meteor shower from 1833, and it was described as like the world's, like, history's biggest meteor shower. And this wood cutting was so cool, like it looked like something from Doctor Who, and I saved it. And when I was doing this picture, I was like, I have to write something in that. I just think it looks incredible. And it was such a big meteor shower that it led to like discoveries about meteorites and meteor showers, and people thought the world was ending because they didn't know what it was. So I kind of pitched an idea surrounding that. And then it went back and forth for a bit and changed shape a few times. And then they asked me to write it, which was very exciting.
Very cool. I mean, you've written you've written for the official Doctor Who website and like the Radio Times and New Statesman and stuff, but like in a factual basis. But this now is like you're writing drama now. Like, was this sort of always been a thing you wanted to do?
Yeah, so so last year I had a short story come out in one of our other Puffin books. So I'd done that first, which is a Ninth Doctor story set in a nail salon just before the Doctor meets Rose Tyler, which is really fun. So when I wrote that, I sort of didn't know if I was any good at it. I was just sort of like the guy, my editor, Tom, who was brilliant, he when I was pitching books to him, he was like, can I have an example of prose from you? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I had to write one, and that's what that was. And then after I did that, I was like, oh, I actually really want to do this. But I think I always felt like I couldn't. And I don't know why. I think my sort of lack of education and background and stuff, I think I was always like, I can't write stuff like that. Like, that's for people that have gone to university and know things. But no, I think now actually it's the thing I want to continue doing the most, and it's the thing I enjoy the most. So I love writing about Doctor Who and writing factual stuff and nonfiction, but I think writing fiction is where I feel the most like content.
I mean, you're basically playing in the sandbox, the universe that is Doctor Who, and especially for official purposes too. That's the great thing about it.
Crazy, isn't it? It doesn't feel real at all ever, and being able to say like, oh, I wrote something for the current Doctor for his current era, while it was airing and stuff like that. And also audio is very different to prose and other things I've written. So that was a massive learning curve, and that was really exciting that I sort of learned so much through that process.
How's it? I mean, it's not an audio play. It's just an audio book being read by someone. But how is that different writing for that than just a standard book then?
See, I didn't know until I started, because I honestly thought, well, it's just the 10,000 word story, so it'll be the same thing. But actually, you have to think a lot more about how literal you are about things and how you describe sound and how things are written, because someone's reading it and it's a very different, I don't know how to really explain it. It's just like a very different type of writing that I hadn't done before. So the feedback process for that was really interesting, because I was sort of learning as I was going along. Whereas with prose, it's a little, I don't know it's really hard to describe. It sort of like comes very naturally to me how to write a Doctor Who short story or whatever.
Right.
But this was like, it had to sort of like, you had to set the scene a bit more than maybe you would do in a book, because people are listening, and you have to, how they talk about how Netflix shows are written now so that people are scrolling their phone. I mean, it's not like that, but it's kind of a bit like, right, you have to set the scene, you have to introduce the character and talk. Whereas the way I would normally do it is like seed things throughout the story about the character, rather than be really like upfront, here's the character, here's what's going on. And so that was the kind of learning curve that I was going through, where it was like, oh, I had seeded like these things about this character, but it needs to be more concise. It has to happen at the beginning, things like that. And I think it's a more literal way of writing rather than book writing, from my experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand. It's like, reading a speech is much different than actually doing the speech, like saying it out loud. It'll, any sort of thing, it'll sound different, and just when you're actually reading it out loud as opposed to when you're just sort of reading it off the page, and you sort of have to tailor something to be something that's going to be spoken as opposed to just being read, kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because every editor that you work with is different and has a different way of creating a story or wanting to work with you. So, I was working with the same editor all the time at Puffin. So this was like my first time working with a new editor and be like, okay, you look at things completely differently. So this is how this works. And that's what's really interesting to me, is that there's so many different parts of Doctor Who that have their own little worlds. Like the BBC audio world is so different to the Puffin world of Doctor Who. And it's so brilliant how they all have their own kind of spin on the brand and like their own mini universe, if that makes sense. So it was really interesting to go between them and sort of write, because I think I write quite humorously and emotionally, and some of that had to be taken out, I think, just for clarity and for audio purposes. Whereas with my short story for Puffin that I'd done, I think I got to keep a little bit more of that. It worked better on the page.
Right. Did it feel like you felt a little constrained then, having to say, take out the jokes, take out this bit of emotion approach here because someone's reading it? Like, did that affect you in the writing of this at all?
It was mostly because the 10,000 words is actually not very long to write a whole new world, introduce a main character, do a story, have side characters, explore the Doctor and Belinda. Like I ended up having to cut a lot. So that, like, for no reason really, there were jokes that had to go just because of the word count, or like emotional bits that had to go because instead of Belinda having an emotional moment, we needed to give more time to the main character, Mary, because we need to explore her story. So it was a lot of learning about that as well, and just being like, how do we make a 10,000 word piece of Doctor Who where everything is balanced? And I think that was a really great learning curve for me to figure out how to get that balance. Because writing for Puffin, I can sort of, for a short story, you can do between probably around 5 and 10k words. Like you can, you're not constrained to 1 hour audio recording.
Yeah.
So, that's also a thing. I hadn't worked with him before, so it was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. Did you get to attend the reading at all, or no?
I was supposed to. I actually got sick with the flu a couple of days before, so I didn't get to see the recording, which is a shame. I did plan to, and I haven't heard it yet either because I haven't had my copies yet. But I'm really excited because Michelle Asante is incredible. I was really happy they managed to get her to do it because her role in Story in the Engine is incredible.
Yeah. And she does a whole bit. She does a lot. Like she's done a lot of Big Finish stuff too, and a lot of other audio stuff. So like, she's quite clearly the perfect person to read such a thing too.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to hear what she does with kind of the emotional stuff and some of the accents as well, because they're in Canada.
Are they real? See, I saw Drummondville in the write up here. At Drummondville, Quebec, of course, which is far away from Maya, but it's in Canada. So you've set this story in Canada. You don't understand how often that we here at Radio Free Skaro, a Canadian podcast, lament how little is actually set in Canada in the Doctor Who universe. So you've already won us over with that. So this is where the woodcut was obviously from Drummondville, Quebec. Then,
yeah. So this is where my geography is going to fail me completely. The Drummondville at the time. You can inform me whether I'm correct on this. My grasp of geography is astoundingly bad, but we did figure this out. Drummondville, the village, was in Niagara Falls, the Canada side, in 1833.
Right. And
it grew and changed name to something else that I can't remember. And and I think separate to the Drummondville that exists now.
Okay. See, I didn't know that, so this is good. Okay. I've only heard Drummondville, Quebec, so I'm learning now too. So this is perfect.
Yeah, it was a bit confusing for ages because I was like, oh, does this place exist? And also, it was really one of the things I really liked about it was when I was doing research. There actually wasn't a lot of research about Drummondville, but when I was researching, it had the list of people that lived there at the time that I was writing it, so around the early 1830s. And there was someone called, I think the blacksmith was called William Russell. And I was like, oh, that's cute. I'm going to use that one film. Because I just thought that was really lovely. But yeah, it was really confusing because then we went back and forth being like, did Drummondville exist? Yes, it did. Yeah. I think two versions, the two Drummondvilles, because it was originally, I think, an army village or something like that.
It was, yeah. I'm looking it up now. I've been compelled to Google it now, and it was like the historic hillside battlefield for the War of 1812.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, not gonna lie, I'm slightly panicked now that you're Googling it because I'm like, what if it's wrong? But I don't think it is. I did a lot of research.
Yeah, no, I see William Russell right there too. So everything is above board. So I'm just happy you had it in Canada. I mean, like, you know, there's a shot of Niagara Falls in the background in the Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. And,
yeah, there is. Yeah.
And we say there, look, you can see Canada. Technically, that's part of Canada, which is in Doctor Who finally at long last. So.
Yeah, because it's actually really strange. It's the only other link having the TV movie filmed there.
Well, and Sidney Newman, of course, who helped create the show way back in '63, is from Canada. So, like, he's our he's our anchor, basically.
You guys are like the main. You are the originals. You are the source of Doctor Who, if anything.
Exactly. You know, we might not have had much to do with it after that, but we started it. Damn it! So.
Well, and also the TV movie is a big part of Doctor Who's history. So it's very, very cool. That where was that filmed?
It was filmed in Vancouver. Yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah, thought so. See, I nearly didn't say Vancouver then because genuinely my brain will just like make up where places are.
Right. Vancouver has always been Vancouver.
I've got this far in life. It's like what is it? Dyslexia, but for geography.
I know what you mean. Although I'm a big fan of geography, so I don't suffer from that, thankfully. But there are things that I probably do get mixed up a lot, like math. Yeah. So yeah, but I'm
sure you're better than me anyway. But I'm excited that you're excited that it's set in Canada.
Yeah, it's superb. I look forward to hearing the accents. I'm not really. I'm just very happy that something, even though Canada wasn't a country back in 1833, but the geographical location is the important thing here. So thank you for being inspired by Canadian history for the story. I have to say I'm very impressed because when people start off on Doctor Who marathon podcasts, they usually fizzle out at some point. And you started the Who Watch podcast in October of 2023 for the 60th anniversary, and you've just now passed season 7 of the John Pertwee era on the Who Watch podcast. Tell us about this remarkable journey that you've been on.
Oh, it's so much fun, and it's so rewarding actually to see everything in order, which is something I hadn't done before. I've binge watched bits and here and there, and I've done, seasons, but I haven't ever watched it from the beginning in order, all of the missing stuff, everything. It's really nice, and it's really nice to document it as well with a really close friend of mine, and also look at it from, I guess, a different perspective, I guess, than other people. My co-host is a Black queer man. I'm a woman, so it's interesting to come at it from that perspective as well, and also just like be kind of silly about it. We have a lot of fun. It's just so nice. I love it so much. Like, we're going to start recording again soon, and it just feels like, obviously it really helps me with my job because I start learning more and more about Doctor Who, or like reminding myself of things that I'd forgotten, stuff I'd watched as a kid that I hadn't seen since, that kind of thing. But I love seeing how it is forming and taking shape and becoming the show that I grew up with very slowly,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there whether we talked off mic about the couple stories that didn't quite sit right with you, but what new discoveries did you sort of make over the course of watching the first 7 seasons of Doctor Who that sort of jumped out at you? You think, oh wow, that story didn't really hit me before, but it has now.
I think so. A recent one is like, I'm surprised at how I didn't enjoy Inferno as much as I thought I would, but also discovered the Silurians is one of my favorite Doctor Who stories ever. So that's really exciting. goodness me, what else? I hated the Space Pirates and hated the Reign of Terror. They really stick in my mind.
No, the Space Pirates is an understandable one. I'm a rare champion of the Space Pirates, mostly because we don't know anything about it, and I want the opportunity to assess it on its own terms, as opposed to a dodgy off-air recording and literally no other visuals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I think generally as well. I actually think that I'm surprised at how little, not little, that's not a good way of describing it, but I didn't enjoy Patrick Troughton's era like I thought I would. And I really loved William Hartnell's era, and I'm really loving John Pertwee's era. And I felt that Patrick Troughton's era really kind of let me down. I thought I would like it a lot more.
Interesting.
From what I had seen before.
Yeah.
But watching it in order, and it's probably because a lot of it is missing, but there's a lot of, it's quite repetitive. There's a lot of really similar stuff. Like I'm thinking back to like season 6, and I always get the Crotons and the Dominators mixed up because they feel really similar. But then you have such incredible stories like The Web of Fear and the Invasion, which are like classics.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like the highs are really high, and then everything else just didn't really hit for me, if that makes sense. Whereas I think with the Hartnell era, even if it was like a low, I just loved that era.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's really interesting as well to go through and see the kind of evolution of companions, and like you can really feel when Verity Lambert leaves and when it starts to get darker, and they can't decide on companion and all of that sort of thing. It's really interesting to see how it's going. And now with Liz Shaw, it's really sad because she's so incredible, but just learning all about like why they made that decision to, you know, bring Jo Grant in and get rid of Liz Shaw, and how sad it is that she's only there for a few stories.
Yeah.
But you're really seeing how the Doctor and the companion is like getting shaped as the years go on, and I think it's so cool.
Very cool. Had you mostly seen like all the existing stuff at least before you started the podcast, or is this some of these stories like brand new to you?
Do you know what? A lot of it is newer to me than I thought it would feel, and that's because I watched so much of it when I was younger, but I haven't really retained it. I thought I had, but I hadn't. And that's what's really interesting, because stuff that I kind of thought I knew Inferno, and then I watched it and I was like, I don't remember this, which is nice actually, because it does feel like I'm getting a lot of new Doctor Who, especially as the show's not on at the moment as well. But it's interesting how much of it feels new, even if I, have read loads about it. I've read a lot of Target novels where I haven't seen the stories, and it still feels so different. And I think actually, once I start getting towards the 80s, the 5th and 6th Doctor stuff is the stuff I've seen the least of. So that's the thing I'm most interested in getting to, and sort of being like, okay, how new is that going to feel?
Oh,
yeah, I've been watching a bit of 5th Doctor recently, and I'm worried.
oh no. I mean that was my formative years, was the 5th and 6th Doctors. Really, when I started watching the show, that's when I sort of really kicked into gear. Mostly coincidentally, I sort of picked it up in the last era of Tom Baker. That's when I became a super fan. So wow. I'm very I mean not when it originally aired, like several years after it originally aired here in North America, but it'll be interesting to see how it is appreciated, shall we say, by a relatively first time viewer in yourself on the podcast.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I've watched bits of 5th Doctor out of order for work stuff recently, and I think it's not hitting because I am watching it out of order, which doesn't really work. Because I think the thing with 5th Doctor's companions is that I think they have an arc that you need to follow, and I'm not doing that currently. So I'm looking forward to seeing. It's just so different to this early 60s stuff, which is what I love so much.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts really getting quite self-referential as well, which I'm interested to see how I feel about that when I get to it. But I've got all of Tom Baker to go first, and all of John Pertwee, so
that's true. A lot of stuff, a lot of time. I mean, this is the thing when Doctor Who isn't on the air. You have lots of time to watch other Doctor Who stuff, and you have lots of time to read trivia books and listen to new audiobooks, which is what you could do. Both written by Beth Axford. The official Doctor Who quiz book is out now, and both that and Doctor Who Firefall, which is coming out in October, can be found at Penguin Books and all good retailers. Beth Axford, this has been a blast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Beth, and thank you, as I say there, for setting a Doctor Who story even though it's pre-Canada, pre-1867, but a Doctor Who story set in Canada at long last.
Our national destinies have failed.
I'm trying to think of how many. I know Andrew Smith has worked hard and often been told no to working in Canadian references into some of his Big Finish stuff. So Beth Axford is one of the first to actually set something in Canada. Niagara Falls, but
let's hear it for the youth.
Yeah,
they got in there.
Could you imagine if it was set at the same time as the Nikola Tesla episode, and they could have competing press conferences or whatever on either side of the falls?
Oh yeah,
that's right. Competing, it'd be hilarious. Yeah. Oh, but it's not. And also the quiz book is out now, and I have it, and it's great. It's you're off the hook though, Warren. It's not quite attuned to our little trivia Mr. Fibley format.
Phew.
So
how does that make me off the hook?
Well, in that we won't force you to play another trivia game with that book. We'll force you in a different way to do trivia in the future. We won't.
It just sounds like a worse hook, actually.
Probably, yeah. A worse hook, or that's hook even worse than 1992's Hook, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Come on, that's a lot. I don't particularly think it's great, but a lot of people younger than us are beloved film for them, and also pretty good John Williams score.
Well, is there a bad John Williams score?
I've never been a fan of the Harry Potter one, to be honest with you.
Well, there we go.
There you go.
I forgot they did that one, so because I never saw them. Anyway, I think that's it. I think that's it for our episode of Doctor Who: Radio Free Skaro, everyone. Next week, our Patreon supporters would have heard this a while ago now, but we'll be kicking off our commentary series, classic commentary series for The Sunmakers, baby. Yeah, The Sunmakers, glorious 1970s Doctor Who. Watch and talk.
Out-of-date commentary on the state of the world 3 or 4 months ago.
Who knows what life was like back in the summer of 2025. But so stay tuned for that next week. In the meantime and in between time, though, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.